guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Loki Kia in Palm Harbor, Florida, and guess what? We have that mid-size sedan that's got a turbo pack punch. Is this vehicle right here? This is a 2025 updated Kia K5 GT. But before we get into this mid-size sedan that has a lot of special touches, let's talk about what's going on here. So once upon a time, this vehicle was called the Kia Optima. They decided, you know what, we want to be like some of those German Euro brands and use letters and numbers to designate our model. So this is the K5. Obviously, your smallest sedan is going to be the K4. This is your next step up. Now, what's fascinating is in this mid-size segment, when we're talking about affordability, there's not a lot if you want some performance sports sedan enjoyment. There used to be the Toyota Camry TRD, that's gone. There used to be the Honda Accord with the detuned Civic Type R motor that you could even get a manual with it if you wanted to, that's gone. There even used to be a Mazda 6 and even a Mazda Speed 6. That's long gone. So when we look at this category of class of vehicle, there's really two main competitors, and they both come from sister brands. You got the Kia K5 GT, and you also have the Hyundai Sonata N-Line. What I want to find out is, though, is this the most affordable when it comes to a mid-size sedan with some turbo pack punch? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Right off the bat, overall dimensions, like I said, mid-size sedan, so you're going to get plenty of passenger room, but you also have a nice presence to it. It's very well laid out. There's no particular body line on here that just looks like, ew. It all looks really good. Now at the front of the business, you'll see how they refreshed our headlight housing. Much slimmer with our LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps. Look at the way the daytime running lamp actually runs into the fender, and these are also your turn signals. Working your way down, you do have a vertical stack of LED fog lamps, but I gotta zonk the fake vent here. I don't know why on a sports style sedan do we need to have fake vents. I would have just preferred it to be smooth, to be honest with you, or do the gloss black around the perimeter and then have the pearlescent white on the interior of that area. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section for sure. Now, when you look at the Sonata N-Line also got refreshed. I think at this point right now, I'm liking the Sonata N-Line a little bit more. Now, as we come across that unique tiger nose grille, pinched in the center, flared out on each side, you got your forward-facing camera. Lower grille area, just like up top, is all gloss black, but you can see it's fully functional. We do have a supersized intercooler and also a transmission cooler lurking behind to help keep those temps in check. And I like the way that they made the front splitter all together within the gloss black. Really gives it a nice new look. And like I said, this whole front end is refreshed for 2025. Now, as we rise up, same hood as before. You got that indentation in the center with the Kia badge. And then as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tires. So we got new wheels, new tires, and a different look on the brakes. So you'll notice that we have these gloss black wheels, nice intricate design. This is a 19-inch wheel. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of the tire on this wheel? 245 on the width, 40 series on the sidewall. And for 2025, they decided to go with that highlighter yellow on the calipers up front with the GT badge. It's interesting because they're electrified GT vehicles like the EV6 GT. They have neon calipers, and I always thought that that was because it was an EV, but they decided to also put it on the internal combustion engine K5 GT. You do get over 13-inch rotors up front, 12-inch rotors out back, and this is front-wheel drive, so can't get this all-wheel drive. It's funny because you could get the GT line in all-wheel drive, so that always made me scratch my head. And I know a lot of times when people are saying, Joe, this car should be all-wheel drive, I'm like, why? This particular car needs to be all-wheel drive, or at least have a limited slip diff up front, because getting traction to the ground is very difficult with this car. Now, when we get down the side, you do have gloss black on the mirror caps. We have our turn signals nice and slim. You got your 360-degree cameras. From the side of the vehicle, like I said, this is a mid-size sedan, so gonna go still up against the Camry, the Accord, and of course the Sonata. There isn't a Mazda 6 anymore, and I guess you could throw the Chevy Malibu in there, but there is no performance version of the Malibu. I love the way they blacked out the whole roof with that oversized sunroof style to it, almost like a panoramic sunroof. One of the things that's interesting is that as we work our way back, I wish that this bright shiny metalwork was dark. This needs to be like a black chrome rather than big and shiny. Because of the sporty nature of this, you do get an actual quarter window, which is great, instead of just gloss black. And then what I do like about the trim is that it actually forms a U shape and goes all the way back around to the other side. Now, don't be confused, don't be fooled. This is not a Sportback. It actually has a separate trunk, which is a bummer, because that's one of the things, like on the Stinger GT, I always loved the way it had that Sportback design. This, though, they put a big, huge piece of gloss black, and you could already see all the swirl marks in it. Not my favorite, so I am gonna zonk that, but you do have great LED lighting. We got our GT badge. They did update the rear taillights. And another thing that they updated for 2025 as we lower down is the lower rear bumper and the exhaust. So you actually have dual functional outlet exhaust on both sides with the stainless steel tip. And then you do have that simulated diffuser in the center, which actually gives it a pretty aggressive look from the rear of the vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and check out the turbocharged power. All right, guys, got the hood popped. You do have hood struts. Underneath the hood, like the engine cover says, turbo. The turbocharger is actually mounted right by the firewall underneath that heat shielding. This is a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline four. It produces 290 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed dual clutch transmission. So a DCT, 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds, quarter mile in 13.5 seconds at 108 miles an hour, and it has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. The vehicle weighs 3,581 pounds, MPGs 24 in the city, 32 on the highway. Now, of course, in mid-size sedans, you can go BMW, you could go Audi, you could go Mercedes-AMG and get a lot more horsepower, but we're talking about affordability here. So with those times, especially the quarter mile and the top speed, 155 miles an hour, for the affordability of this vehicle, I think is going to surprise you. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear what this K5 GT sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this pearlescent white 2025 Kia K5 GT. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I really would love to get a Audi S5 or maybe even a AMG, blah, 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 blah. I want performance, but I don't have, you know, a seven-digit income household. So how much is this? Totally understand. Very good question. Starting MSRP for a GT is $34,000. This one has all the extra goodies, which brings it up to an MSRP of $39,000. So we're a tick under 40 grand for a car that does 0 to 60 in 5 seconds and has a top speed of 155 miles per hour. Let's see what else you get when you go K5 GT to the door panels. I like the clean style. Soft touch material up top, a little bit of silver trim, nothing too gaudy. I even like the way they did the highlighter yellow on the contrast stitching. It does bring the color from the outside and the calipers into the interior of the vehicle. What I don't like, and I don't think you're gonna like either, is that massive amount of gloss black, and that's also the door handle to pull the door closed. What in God's earth are they freaking thinking you're going to have fingerprints and greasy KFC prints all over that thing? You do got the Bose sound system, which is great. Door pocket is big enough for 2 biscuits and 2 drumsticks from the good old Colonel. And then going from the door panel to the dash, I like the way that they did this trim here. It's not gloss black. It's got a little bit of a design. Why didn't they put this on the door panel is beyond me. But you have soft touch. You slide on in. You got a big screen. 12.3 inch. Like the way it's kind of curved, so it's angled towards the driver. You have all your familiar apps, icons, all those things that you get when you go with a Kia vehicle in today's modern age. And as you can see, I mean, besides my heavy finger push on some of the different apps, it's actually quite easy to use. You just got to be a little bit more pinpoint. I'm kind of just being a little clumsy, but you can see how many different ways to adjust lots of different things in here. I bet you half the people watching probably don't even know how to tell time with that clock. Throw it into reverse, backup camera resolution, clear as day. Love the trajectory, the 360. You could do the sit and spin, like the way they do that. Stevens right there in that shadow area. And then we're right back where we started. Even the way they did the TFT display for your AC controls, you got your blower fan, you have dual climate with real knobs, and then check this out. You want to have maybe some of the touchscreen controls down here. You hit the arrow, and it actually allows you to operate the infotainment system by pressing the buttons down here. That is a nice touch. Down below, you have 2 USB-Cs, a 12-volt wireless charging, a place for, I would say, 4 Reese's peanut butter cups, 2 large cup holders. This guy right here is going to be the shifter for your 8-speed dual clutch transmission. You do have your drive mode selector knob. I'll show you that when you come over to the business end. Heated steering wheel, and we have 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats, and I love the way they do the switch gear. Very easy to use and to figure out. Kia key fob is actually pretty nice, especially compared to some of the competition. You got a little area here. This is where you can put your Jolly Ranchers, watermelon, cinnamon, sour apple. I know Steven loves sour apple. There's many reasons for that. Highlighter, sour apple green stitching. Lift it up, you got a book. Ooh, you got a little book. This actually tells you the history of Kia, all the way from day one with Mr. Kia. So you could read that when you're going to the bathroom, or maybe you're just sitting in a parking lot waiting to pick up your kid from school. You could read the history of Kia. It's all right here. Once you take the book out, you do have another USB-C, and you have enough room in there. You could actually put a 1-pound bag of Twizzlers. I love Twizzlers, but I like old Twizzlers. And no, I'm not talking about old Twizzlers that have been sitting around. I'm talking about, just like everything else, in today's day and age, they changed the recipes to everything that tasted good back in the 80s and 90s. And now it tastes like crap. Coca-Cola used to taste better. KFC used to taste better. Even Twizzlers tasted better. Now, it just tastes bland. It tastes like plastic. Seats, love the material. More stitching right on needlepoint. Even down the center. On the bolstering, you do have electric assist for the passenger. Electric assist, of course, for the driver. And then we have that pretty decent-sized panoramic sunroof. So I thought it was just going to be like an oversized sunroof, but it's on the smaller side, but it is a panoramic sunroof. Why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel in this GT. All right, guys, I got to recant one of my zonks. If you look on the door panel, what's nice is with the sun shining, you can see how they took some of that trim that I was pointing out on the dash. They did put it on the door panel. So see, I'm big enough to own up to my mistakes. Are you? That's the big question. You do have 2 memory seat settings, so if you let somebody borrow your GT, you could have your own seat setting and they won't screw it up. Talk about the seat settings, real easy to figure out. You got your seat controls all within fingertip reach. I'm 6 feet tall, and there's plenty of freaking room in here. I mean, it's really nicely laid out. Seats are great, supportive, and they have some bolstering to where they'll hold you in when you're going through the twisty bits. Steering wheel, you like flat bottom girls? You got your flat bottom steering wheel with your flat black on the switch gear, paddles on the back of the wheel to go up and down that 8-speed dual clutch transmission, and you do have a manual tilting and telescoping wheel, but you do have another 12.3 inches of screen for the digital gauge cluster. You have your different modes, normal, sport, and my drive. And then also what I love about this vehicle is that you got those blind spot cameras. That to me is worth its weight in gold. And you can scroll through a cornucopia of information in the center display. That's another nice touch. Look at that. Look at all that information. I got so much information, it's ridiculous. Look at that. Boom. Other than that, the one thing that is missing is the head-up display, but I'm okay with that, especially at this price point. Let's get in the backseat and see if your passengers are going to be happy with this K5. All right, guys, backseat time in this Kia K5 GT. These midsize sedans have a lot of room, a lot more room than midsize sedans from the past. Let me get comfy here. I'm 6 feet tall, even with the panoramic sunroof. Plenty of headroom. Backs of the seats, there is some plastic, but I think you're going to like that because you'll be able to keep it clean when your kids are picking their nose and wiping all over it. I do like the way they have pockets. You could put an abacus in here, maybe a speak and say, or even Simon Says. I used to love that freaking thing. I was addicted to that back in the 1980s. That and a Rubik's Cube. Back command center, we do have rear AC vents and 2 USB-Cs and the lightning bolt. And then, like I said, sitting here, comfortable. I like the way it's tilted back a little bit. And then you do have a nicely padded armrest with 2 cup holders. And they did do the neon stitching, just like up front. Everybody gets a little neon stitching. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the trunk and see what type of junk we could put in this K5 GT. All right, guys, junk in the trunk time. You hit the button. Nice quick release. You're gonna be greeted to 16 cubic feet of space. I love the way the seats do the 60-40 split to fold down, and you got those easy pull handles. And there is a spare underneath the cargo floor, which is nice, because a lot of these performance sporty sedans, they ditch the spare like a big anchor. But why don't we go ahead? If you're ready, I'm ready. We got the Kia K5 GT. Let's go on throttle with it and see how it goes. All right, guys, we are behind the wheel of this 2025 Kia K5 GT. I got it in sport mode. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. So definitely gonna get up the speed very quickly. As long as you're rolling, you'll be fine. From a dead stop, it's not fun at all. You're gonna be spinning the front tires. Well, maybe that's fun for you if you wanna show off to your friends and say, hey, look, I'm gonna spin the front wheels and tires in my Kia K5 GT. But the problem with that is that if you're spinning your tires, you're not moving forward. So acceleration is greatly hampered. Overall, I love the layout of the interior. One thing that I'm really not a big fan of, though, is how boring the dash is. Yeah, it's a digital gauge cluster, but that's about it. I wish there was a little bit more, and when you change the modes, it doesn't do squat. I mean, when you go into sport mode, it just says sport in the lower left-hand corner. Whoopity freaking doodah. But the saving grace is that you do have those amazing corner cameras, which is awesome. Now, getting to the 12.3-inch infotainment system is well within reach, and I like the way that you have real knobs and switchgear for your AC control and also for your heated and ventilated seats. Driving dynamics are pretty decent in this vehicle. It's going to surprise you. It's just there's no substitute for not having a limited slip diff. I would rather have the limited slip diff over all-wheel drive. And the reason why is because all-wheel drive is just going to add extra weight to this car. It's going to rob you of more horsepower because you got to drive all 4 wheels and the drive shaft and everything else. The engine does spin up really quickly. The DCT in this thing, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I get in these vehicles that especially from Kia and Hyundai, that have a dual clutch and a turbocharged engine, and they just don't jive very well with the turbo and the DCT. It creates a little bit of lag, but like I said, once you're rolling, it really is a wonderful experience, and utilizing the paddles allows you to shift very quickly whether you're going up the gears or down the gears. But let's go on throttle again. On throttle, here we go. So you can see, once you're rolling, you're golden. Just make sure you're rolling and everything will be fine. But from a dead stop, it's, especially with the traction control off, you're gonna need new tires up front for sure. Now to shift manually, you just take the shift lever and you pull it towards your leg. And now I'm gonna use the paddles. But even going around that corner and getting on throttle, you're breaking traction. You do have a very, very small gear indicator in the lower corner there that shows you what gear that you're in. And there's a decent sound coming from the engine. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but it's better than a bunch of piped in sound. Another thing that's a zonk for me in this car is there's no aluminum pedals. I would think the top GT trim would have an aluminum throttle and aluminum brake pedal, but you don't get those in this car. But like I said, overall, the driving dynamics, I mean, look at this. You go into this corner here, no body roll. It really hunkers down and gets to business very, very easily. It's just where you're gonna find the issue is when you're coming out of a corner and you get on throttle. That's when things get a little wonky because there's no limited slip diff. And no, I don't want all-wheel drive. I mean, it'd be okay, but I really think in this car, if you're gonna have all-wheel drive, you gotta bump the horsepower up to at least 350 to compensate for the power loss of driving all four wheels. But, you know, this car in traffic is really, really a joy. It's not too large, definitely not too small. And the suspension has been really tuned well. I mean, over those bumps, you probably saw some shake there, but it's not a harsh ride at all. And the seats feel really, really good. But from a price standpoint, for $39,000, I mean, what else are you gonna buy out there? If you want a sedan that's got some type of performance, some sportiness to it, there's just not much out there anymore. And yes, I know you could get a Model 3, blah, 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 blah. I'm not talking about EVs. I'm not talking about EVs. We're talking about good old internal combustion engine vehicles. But the technology, you're gonna love. It's got great technology. The screens are a good size, and they're not going past the dash line too much. Definitely not in your line of sight, which is great. And you got a panoramic sunroof, plus the heated and ventilated seats. I mean, they got you covered if you want all the bells and whistles. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall review of this Kia K5 GT. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a nanosecond. All right, guys, another great day here at Loki Kia. Definitely want to thank Robert, Danny, and the rest of the crew getting us access to this pearlescent white 2025 Kia K5 GT. Let me know what you think. Is this the most affordable sport performance sedan, or are you going to spend more to get more? Let me know in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Gotta give it out to Stephen Flood. Sometimes, you know, he's the guy there that is always there for you. No matter how much weight you lift at the gym, he will spot you. So thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.